everybody, my name is Infiniti, aka 56 in Finance, and today I am here with another episode of Insurance with Infiniti. Today I am going to be talking to you guys about probably the most common rebuttal slash question slash objection that I get when it comes to speaking with clients about life insurance. And so when I call people and I discuss mortgage protection with them, because a lot of people don't really know the inner specifics of different types of insurances, I've come to find out, and it's always fun being able to explain that to them. But the number one thing that I always get back is, well, I already got life insurance. I'm like, okay, that's great. There are a lot of people that do not have life insurance, and even amongst the people that do, there's about 40% that wish they had more coverage, and 9 times out of 10 it's through their job. So today's topic is 7 things that you should be asking about your insurance coverage, your life insurance coverage, through your employer. Okay, so number 1, the first question you should ask is, what type of life insurance does my employer offer? So I forget which statistic, but about 98% of people who qualify for life insurance through their employer take advantage of that program, and that is great for them. It is a valuable benefit to have, especially in this day and age, right? And so usually it covers, I want to say 10 to 20 years, and it is offered in some multiple of their salary. The reason why this insurance is so affordable is because it's what's called group term life insurance. So your employer gets you guys a discounted rate because it is lumped into a group and averaged out and all that, and so you guys get these low affordable premiums for whatever term that they have available for you. Why is it important to ask that? Well, first of all, it's just nice to know, right, what kind of coverage you have. And depending on the type of job you do, you want to be sure that your life insurance is adequate for the types of risks that you're taking, or adequate for whatever time frame that you need it for. So for example, if you're a construction worker and your job offers you some term group life insurance, you want to make sure that it's going to cover you for your working years. You want to ask about any kind of benefits, if there are living benefits. A lot of cases there aren't with that, but doesn't hurt to ask, doesn't hurt to be informed. The second thing you want to ask is the coverage enough? So a lot of times when you get life insurance through employers or employer-sponsored life insurance, there we go, it's about a flat $20,000 worth of coverage, more or less. It just depends on the job, and oftentimes that's not enough for most people. And so earlier I spoke to the fact that 40% of people that do have life coverage through their job do wish that they had additional coverage. And that's kind of where that comes into, especially if you're at a point where you're taking on a mortgage, you got a family, you got a car note, you got freaking bills, you gotta really assess whether or not that sum is enough for you. And at that point, then you would want to start looking for probably a private policy that you can get and pay additionally into. Number 3, how much does it cost me, right? So a lot of times these group term policies are super affordable, and again, that is because the company can get you guys in a group together and get that cost averaged out, and they pass those savings on to you and you get coverage, right? But if you've been working for a certain amount of time, you may well know that these things can change. So it's not level term coverage, right? It fluctuates, these payments or premiums that you put into the policy. And sometimes they can change the options that they even offer for employees. So you could end up with less coverage and a higher premium later on down the road, and I think we can all agree that that kind of sucks. Number 4, you want to ask if you can ever increase the coverage that you have for your life insurance. So in a lot of cases you can, usually during open enrollment season, or by reaching out to your HR department. However, you want to be aware of the fact that you could end up with a higher premium, potentially less coverage for that higher premium, and your options might be limited as opposed to looking into a policy of your own. So a lot of times when you have insurance options within your company, you have a limited pool of what you can reach into, as opposed to going to, you know, a licensed agent or broker where they have more of a toolbox, if you will, to reach into to help you cover your needs. Number 5 is, what happens if I leave my job? And this is a question that I ask people all the time because it's probably the most important out of all the ones I'm going to name, right? Because there's a thing called convertibility. And that is where, in some cases, in certain positions, whatever, when you leave the company, you do have a limited time after leaving to convert your group term life policy into an individual policy. And the premiums would be a little higher, but you would have independent coverage still. Most of the time, coverage is not portable, it's not convertible, and what happens is people end up being uninsured while they are searching for a new job, or until they end up ultimately going to get a policy of their own, right? So it's almost best that you have both. Keep that in mind throughout this list, obviously. So yeah, that's definitely something that I try to reason with my clients, and some people get it because they never thought about it before. And as an agent, you know, you get to know your clients. It's like, okay, what do you do for a living? Do you like what you do for a living? And so usually from there, you know, I'm like, hey, what happens if you get fed up with your boss and decide to leave, right? Or, you know, layoffs are big this time of year. What happens if they start, you know, giving y'all the boot with no severance packages, right? So, you know, getting them thinking in that wheelhouse kind of thing. It makes people realize, like, oh, wait, maybe I don't have the right amount of coverage. And I'm not saying to not take advantage of your employer life insurance, but what I'm saying is have a fail-safe just in case, right? That's the whole name of the game. Number 6, which ties into everything else, is if I have insurance through my employer, do I need a policy of my own? Yeah. That's the easy, simple question, right? So I'm going to take this back to an anecdote. I know you guys love my flashback stories, but around 2019, 2020, I was employed and very happily employed. And at the top of the year, obviously COVID happened. And by the time March came around, was very unhappily unemployed. And so every perk that I had with my job, I lost it because it didn't exist anymore. So, you know, in that case, I was glad to have my own coverage, right, for life insurance. I wasn't leaving things to the wind just because of what a company did and didn't want to do, right, for me and my family. So having employer sponsored life insurance is great. It's fantastic. That's a great route to go. But also having an extra safety net in case that falls through is also a really great idea. And again, right now, this very moment, or the very moment you sit down with a life insurance agent to go over options, to review your coverage and things like that, that is the youngest you'll ever be, and that is the healthiest you will ever be. And I know that sounds kind of pessimistic as a perspective, but it's entirely true, right? Especially through the eyes of an insurance company. So if you want good coverage and you want expansive coverage for a lower premium, right now, right this moment, if you have been procrastinating, now is the time to do that, right? So wherever you're located, wherever you're watching this from, if this is something you've been putting off, go do it, because your family will thank you later. I promise you they will. Nobody has ever cried about their relative having too much life insurance, ever. Number 7, what happens if I need more coverage? Right? So a lot of people, they don't know a lot about insurance. They just know, like, if you croak, you get paid. Somebody gets paid, right? So in life insurance, you can have more than one policy, right? That's the great thing about life insurance. And a lot of my clients do have more than one type of life insurance policy in place. They're usually put into place for different things. So I have a client that's like, hey, I got a basic whole life that'll cover my funeral, but then, I got like 3 properties out in the sticks, and so, this one's for that one, and this one's for that one, and this one's for that one. And so she's able to, if she passes away within the next 30 or so years or whatever, then she has the means in place to pay off all 3 of her properties. That's really great for her and her family, because when she goes, they don't have to worry about anything, right? Some people use insurance for income replacement and various other life needs, right? And so when you do interact with an agent and you're like, hey, I already got life insurance, and it's like, one of the things I like to ask them, I'm like, okay, what did you set it up for, right? So for me, I know I set up my initial policy for basic burial, right? And at this point in my life, I don't have a heck ton of debt that would fall on anybody. I don't have any dependents, minor dependents, so I don't have to worry about debt coverage. But what I would be more intrigued by would be income replacement, right? So people have policies put into place for different things, and they can have more than one policy, typically not with the same insurance carrier, but that's something that you want to sit down with your individual agent, or if you're with a carrier, specific carrier, you want to talk to them about insurance coverage options. But there are 3 main common types of life insurance coverage. That is whole life, it's term, and it is universal life insurance. And we'll get into the difference between those in another video. I hope this one was helpful for you guys. If so, don't forget to like this page, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, and I am going to go and talk to some other fantastic families. Again, I am a life insurance broker in the states of Missouri and Michigan, so if you ever have any questions and you're living in those states, feel free to email me, feel free to head over to my website, fill out that consultation form, schedule an appointment with me. I'd love to talk to you. All right, be blessed, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.